Hello, welcome back to BlenderSushi Live Noding. In this episode, I will going to challenge myself to create this scrolling text and typewriter effects. I was looking at this and then last night, and I was thinking, hey, maybe we can just recreate this kind of effects using animation nodes or Sverchok. Actually, animation nodes has a way to deal with this kind of text typewriter kind of effects. It's actually already built in the nodes. I don't know why like other Blender artists are not using that capability. I don't know, maybe is it too complex or something? I think the typewriter effect is already done as a node, and then but the scrolling text ups and down or side to side is a it's an interesting thing. I think it's not that hard to do, so I'll just give myself a challenge. File save as this is gonna be, and it's probably more like animation nodes kind of challenge. Scrolling and typewriter. So let's start with something compositing. We can have a text right here. Let's see if the Python thing is working or not. Python console, import this. Okay, it's working. The Zen of Python by Tim Peters. I wanna copy this first and then paste it into the text block. You can use other text like lyric or something, but this is the one that's available and it's open source, I guess. Save. So we have this poem that we can use. First of all, I want to show you something. So this is a text. This is a text. And you want a typewriter effects. I think animation nodes already have it. Object output is going to be the text itself. We're not going to change the text, but let's see. Turn off always, turn on these three. Text, list randomize, split. I believe it's actually the text split that we want. Text object input. The input is actually the one we should put in here. Copy, paste it here. This is a text, and then if I plug this guy here and then plug oh, actually not the split text, I forgot. It's actually more like trim text. So this is the text, this is the output, and let's grab this text objects for output. Now you see this is actually a typewriter kind of effects. You have it right there, so why do people keep wondering? We don't have the Blender modifier for that. You have it in animation nodes, or you can use Sverchok for that. A proper, if you see like if you ever see the television TV stations kind of text, or maybe at a place like Times Square where they have like a scrolling text, normally the text can go around the wall like this. So this is like text A, B, C, and then this is, I believe that's like an LED kind of wall, and they make the text scrolling. I think this is kind of effects that cool if you can recreate it using animation nodes or Sverchoks. I'm pretty sure it's possible. The really proper way is really you need to sample the text as LED. Okay, you imagine like a grid, and you want to feed the text into the grid, and then some kind of special setup will sample the grid to create the text. And if we are doing it like this, it's very easy to scroll the text actually with LED. You remember in my previous live noding, I'm doing the scrolling thing. It's a similar type of effects. So typewriter, we kind of have it. Probably you are wondering, what if we have like a multiple text? What should we do now? Now that's might be a little bit more complex, but let's have a look. Let's use this the Zen of Python. Instead of using a single string input, let's split the text by lines. So we need a text block first of all. Text block input or reader. Maybe just input. This is the Python poem. Let's grab it and plug this into the text. Oh, apparently it's not liking it. Let's see. Text block reader. So there's text block input, there's text block reader. I think reader is what we want. Let's plug that in. So by doing this, we're really separating the text into multiple text string, I believe. We can check it out real quick. If I plug this into that guy, you can see this is the first line, and then the second line's empty, third line's beautiful is better than ugly, explicit is better than implicit, and then so on and so on. This is the lines being separated by the split text. So this is the original text. You can put whatever in here. You can even put a, I don't know, the Star Wars opening paragraph maybe, or Harry Potter poem. Up to you. Maybe Pokemon song lyric, whatever. Let's start with this guy, and then we want to display all the text. So obviously text is pretty much like an ordered list if you want to lay it down nicely. So we can use loop here, just W and then loop through text list, and we're gonna loop this guy. We need multiple text objects, and for that we need a instance object instance, and we're gonna need a text objects. How many lines? It's dependent on this guy here, right here. If I plug that in, it's gonna create get list length, and in fact that will give you the total lines numbers, 21 lines. You can count it. See, it's 21 lines. So we can just plug this guy into the loop. So let's do it like this. You're gonna create an object list here. The object is text, you know, text object. Plug this guy in, text objects, and then plug this guy in there. And it's complaining about something. It's complaining because we are doing some kind of weird. We don't need that. That's not right. That's all we need to do is something like this. Now all the text is on top of each other. Object transform output should give you the ability to lay down the text. Just use this in the what axis, Y. So but this is okay. There you go. That's that's the whole text right there. But it's upside. It's from bottom up. You wanna make that negative or inverse that. So you just use math. Multiply it by -1. There you go. That's the text. We can control the text this way. Now that we have the text laid out like this, we can. What you want to do with this? You can center it out if you use this text object output. Aligned, center. I think this is the master text. This is the master text. So we have this, The Zen of Python by Tim Peters, and you can make it, make it 3D, change the scale. In fact, if you want to make like a Star Wars kind of text, you can do that quite easily. Just make this guy kind of scrolling. That's the next thing we should do. I haven't tried this, but let's see. Let me have a think. Really, in reality, if you are dealing with text like this and you want kind of a nice scrolling, fade in, fade out, you need to fade in and fade out the text. You can actually emulate that kind of effects in Cycles or Blender Render. I think for now I'll use Blender Render. So I'll go to let's see if we can use material. So we cannot use material there. I think I can use this guy. This is gonna be the master text. If you want to use material and then you want the effects to happen on all the instance, in animation nodes you kind of trick it. So this is the master, it has the material. Okay, we can use this master and then use this guy, copy from source and then grab the master objects, which is let's call this master. Just grab the master and then copy full objects, deep copy, and now you can see the text is being updated, has changed. It's okay, we can control it here. At this point you can make the text colorful, but we want to make it fade in and fade out. So I believe that's from the one of this transparency. Now sometimes transparency doesn't work unless you use texture or material. So, I don't know, test it with a master first. Turn on transparency, the alpha. Okay, that's actually the alpha, so we can use that guy and then copy data path, object transform, object attribute output, paste it here. It's the alpha of this guy. Attributes not found. Okay, attribute not found. Maybe I need to use Command Option Control Shift C and paste it here. It's for the material of the objects. BPY data materials alpha. I believe that's correct. Like that. Float input. Plug it in. See, now it's this guy is being controlled. Although it might be controlling the material for every object. That's not actually what we want. What we want is the objects itself. Object color, this guy have alpha. So we can actually use this. So grab object color. And we can use combine color. Plug this guy in there. And we have control over the alpha. Well, I guess at this point we can use the rainbow color. Math index divided by iterations equal rainbow. Okay, so we have rainbow. Here's the tricky part. We want to make the text kind of fade in, fade out. Let me try something. Multi-texture, shadeless. I think there's one option here. It's allowing us to see the transparency. Real solid geocell. No, apparently we need to use this arterial mode. I guess that's all right. We just gonna turn this into shadeless, and we can now see the thing. Okay, cool. We don't need this slide. We don't need the camera. Just hide it into a different layer. M3. Okay, this guy is in layer 2. M11. Okay, now we are ready. Okay, we have the text. We have the control for the alpha. Save this. This is our pit stop. Okay, how to make the text fade in, fade out nicely? Since they're in order, you can, I think one of the way to do it, you can use number, animate number, I believe. Animate float. Okay, animate float, and then we can actually let me have a think. Let's combine color and separate color. Okay, I know. I know. We need two of these guys, so we're gonna separate the color, but the RGB goes into this guy, and then the alpha can comes from this animate float, and this guy can go back in there. Now let's have a look. Plug in time. And let's check it out. Supposedly it's fading. Oh, actually start and end. Start should be start and end. There you go. HSV, hue, saturation, value. You just need a hue. Oh, I know, we don't actually need two of this guy. Just plug this guy in. Sorry about that. Saturation and the value. Value can go really high actually. Anyway, we get the alpha and then the text fading in. Because we are animating the alpha using using this guy. Okay, that's our setup right there. We almost have something. In reality, we actually need the text to fade in and then stay and then fade out, and we need that to happen for every single text, every single line of text right here. I want to show you something first. It's frame offset, time offset, or time delay. With time delay, we can control the fade in and fade out of the text. See, let me use a full screen and stop. That's good. Switch to material mode, and normally this is pretty fast if I switch to full screen, but in this case it's a bit slow because maybe reading the text is a slow process. This guy is not updating. Back to compositing animation nodes, delay time, result. I forgot this should be there, and then this should be plugged to delay. Now we have the effects happening. The time, start and duration 20, delay. We need to control the offset 20. So now let's switch to full screen and then Alt A, playback. See, now the text fading in slowly, one by one. Okay, that's kind of nice. How about our typewriter effects? Currently we have the fading in kind of effects, and it's really slow. Make it 5. Yeah, a little bit faster now. 20. Okay, this is another pit stop. To make this text to scroll, you actually just need to transform the vector, so vector math. You know, oops, not in the Z, but in the Y-axis. This is text scroll. So obviously you want it to fade in, fade out. We can have a look at that soon. At least the text is now scrolling up. Frame. Can use frame for that. For the Y. So in the end, I might give this node 3 for you. So text scrolling up and it's showing one by one. Maybe the speed, we need to control the scrolling speed as well. All these kind of nodes can become like just like a single node. I just wanted to show you the process. So the text now should be scrolling in and fading in. So that's the effects right there. Let me have a think first. You can make it fade out. That's one thing. If you want it to be like a text writer, maybe you can try. Text writer should be as easy as using this guy. Split trim. The trim start and end. Okay. The trim should know the length of each text line. Should know the number of characters. Let's see how long we have. We already almost 30 minutes. Because if I try to just plug this guy in, it's gonna do it for everything. The idea is really So we have, I think this is how I would draw it. We have our frame, okay? This is our time. This is the length of your animations, or yeah, this is a frame. And we want the text to grow from, this is the start and end of text line 1, and then the start and end of text line 2, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So this is a line number 0, line number 2, 3, 4. We need to separate the text like that, and we need to know the beginning and the end of each line, kind of. So that can be a little bit complex. I might need to break this live noding into 2 video, because if I try to do it anyway, see, this is the string goes in there and the text goes in there, we're gonna have this kind of effects. It's happening on every text. You probably want it to happen on line 1 and then line 2, line 3. For that reason, we need to imagine, we need to turn this diagram into animation nodes. That's actually another, it's an interesting problem. Maybe we can use auto N. I have a feeling that auto N is actually, auto N can do the job for us, so we don't need to think about those complex problems. All we need to provide here is something like this, just the time and then delay time and then mod math. So I will do that. So I think it's animate vector. We don't need animate float, just a delay time and the time itself. So time can go in there. It's the delay time that we want to control using the index, and this plug into the start. It seems like doing the opposite kind of effects. Maybe we need to make this into negative value. So now we have interesting kind of effects. I'm just trying something here with the numbers. It's enough Python, alright. The opposite kind of effects, kind of eating the text. Maybe I can negative that guy. Minus 50. So it looks like we are doing kind of the opposite kind of effects. Yeah, I think that's okay for now. Maybe turn this off. Yeah. Okay, auto N is should be on, and then well, at least we have something. 25. It's kind of we have to time the text scroll and the fade in, fade out properly. If you actually because this is procedural, it's not actually animate. It's not like simulations. You can actually play with the timeline back and forth. If you're doing it backward, that's kind of like a typewriter effects, right? And you just make this into negative, and now we have typewriter effects going backward, still going backward. Well, I think this is as good as we can get. Yeah, make this into 20. Yeah, that's a pretty good, I think. We can start from something like that. So it's fading in. One thing I can show you though, fade in, fade out. Okay, see animate float. I'm not sure if we should like piggyback this guy, or there is like mix number, mix floats. With mix float we can kind of have the fade in, fade out, but we might need to piggyback this guy. There's one thing that I forgot. Animate. So there's animate float. There's mix float. It's a float list. Mix float list. So I think mix float list is the one I want. Create float list. So we can have. So for this thing to fade in, you need to have something like this: 0 to 1, and then 1, 1 back to 0. The factor should be the time, I believe. It's not going to be repeating. Supposedly, I think the animate float can do this mixing. I don't know, give it a try, plug this guy in, and then the result should go to alpha. Turn on repeat. Let's check the, let's debug this. Debug list, debug loop. We have all 0, 0, 0. Yeah, float. Maybe this. result. We have something happening. I need float result 0 to 1. We actually have a text by text appearing, so that's a seems like it's getting there. Maybe we can have more of this, maybe. I quite like the effects, but I still not 100% sure about this setup. You see how it's fading in, fading out. I wonder if the durations will affect this. Yeah, the durations affect the outcome of this. We have like the text writer type of effects happening as well. In reality, like with all these kind of text effects, you can't put all the effects together. It's gonna be like so confusing for the audience. Sometimes having a fade in, fade out, and is enough. That's one of the cheapest type of effects. So typewriter, we don't really need it in this case. Typewriter, if you want to do proper typewriters, maybe it's okay. This is typewriter types of effects. It's making this kind of, yeah, that kind of design, yeah. So back, let's see, back to our text Python thing, and then we can I know that this can go to become 3D objects and then object single objects, and this guy can use the build modifier in reverse. Start frame length. No, I'm not gonna do that, but I was thinking that maybe I kind of cover the typewriter effects just now. It's just I need to modify these nodes. What I made here is a fade in, fade out text, which is alright. This is kind of like a Star Wars kind of thing. Let's have like a duration of 40. You know, Star Wars text. You do something like this, and then you have like a super exaggerated focal length. We don't actually need the typewriter effects, but well, just leave it there. Star Wars text. Yeah, so I found it to be quite elegant doing it using animation nodes. So that's maybe around 20 nodes or more, under 30 nodes anyway. Yeah, I might give this node setup to you at some point. But anyway, that's how we can do kind of text scrolling, fade in, fade out. It's pretty easy, right? And of course, the cool thing about this is that you should be able to go back to the text and make it, change this to whatever you like. Blender 3D roles, something like that, you know. This is a short presentation by Blender Sushi channel. How we can create fade in, fade out text in real time procedurally using the dimension nodes and on. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. Smiley. So let's look at this again. Actually, have a bit of empty lines at the beginning. So there you go. That's a live noding for today. Thanks again for tuning in. If you have any question or comments down below, just let me know. Thank you.